Hey everybody, welcome back to Powered by 8 Racing YouTube channel. I have a bunch of stuff today. I got a big shipment in last week or a couple weeks ago, whenever this posts, I don't know. Anyways, I got the rest of the brake system. I have my AP Racing brakes in. They're not going to be shown here, but I did get a bunch of other stuff. I got our Fluid Reservoir. I got our Tilton pedal box with all of the master cylinders. I got the pedal mount. I got the bracket for the pedals. I got some hose. With an S. Hose. H-O-S-E. The bracket for the reservoirs, but I can't use it because of where my roll bar mount is, or where my roll bar sits, and a bunch of hardware for the pedals. I got all the fittings as well. So if you buy a pedal kit with the master cylinders and the pedal box to go manual brakes from G-Speed, this is all the stuff that was included with the kit that I purchased from them. So they will custom tailor the kit to whatever you need. So just coordinate that with them. But what I'm seeing here is that it's pretty much an entire kit that'll work for a C5 anyways. I'd imagine it worked for a C6. Maybe the floor is a little bit different, so they might make a different mount for the pedals for you. But for me, this is for the C5, and that's what I believe this was made for. So that's what we're going to try to get installed. Since this has already been opened. I opened it just to check it out. This is the mount for the reservoir. This would go up on the dash bar, the stock dash bar under the windshield. This would mount to it like this, and then that's how it would be mounted. And then the way that G-Speed builds their cages is they have a roll bar that comes across the front of this, so it works perfect for theirs. Because of the way that we designed my roll bar in the car, I can't put this between the dash bar and the roll bar. Because of that, I'm going to make a different bracket, which is basically almost the same as this, except it'll come out, down, and over, and then basically it's gonna, it'll be more like this, and this will be a 90 degrees. So basically it'll step over the roll bar and it'll come to the other side of my roll bar. No big deal. I might even be able to reuse this one. I may give it a shot, see if I'm gonna measure it first before I bend this up, because if it doesn't work, I'll send it back to them and maybe somebody else can use it. But so I'll do some measurements first. If this is going to work for me, I'll just bend it into 90s, use it. If it doesn't work for me, then I'll make my own. But so that's what we're going to get started on today.
Powered by 8.
All right, so this is the pedal mount that they sent. We will drill 4 holes in the floor. This will go under the car to sandwich the plate. And then if you notice here, we've got all of these mounting points. Basically, what that's going to allow it to do is on the pedals, this will mount here, and it will allow me to slide the pedals forward and backwards just to make the pedal adjustments that I need. So this will get mounted in one spot, and then I can bring the pedals to me to where I need them to be for my own preference. All right, so I did forget something in the first part, and that is the remote brake bias adjuster. So basically, you get an adjuster. It's got a cable. This is going to go in the dash, I guess the console that we'll have made, and you turn this knob and it's going to adjust the brake bias. Now, let's talk about that real quick. Now, some of the bias controls that you're going to find in some manual brake systems is that it's going to just adjust pressure that is being distributed. So it's a bias control, but it's readjusting pressure. Now what this is going to do is something in the same manner, but I believe what it's going to do is, though it's adjusting pressure, since we have a front and rear master cylinder for the brakes, we're adjusting the pressure, but it's going to be adjusted to each master cylinder. So basically, up front here, this piece will as you adjust the bias knob, it will pull this in either direction as you need it to be adjusted, and then that's what's going to allow the plungers to move more or less than the other, and then that's how you're going to get your bias to the brakes. It's not going to be controlled just via pressure on a distribution valve of sorts. And then of course this is going to be for the clutch. So a lot of guys have these on their cars from just upgrading and things like that. This one's just going to be part of the pedal assembly itself. So we've got our brake pressure sensors go here. We've got dash 4s here and here, a dash 4 here, and a dash 3 here. There will be a throttle position sensor that's going to get installed on the throttle pedal, but that's going to come with the Motec when it gets here. All right, so inside the car now, I am going to test fit where these are going to finally rest. The as you'll see, one side has it's curved. That'll match that curve on the outside floorboard. Now, to find the position of these, what we have to do is they'll sit in between this rail, but I want to make sure that I get it as far back as they need to go. And what I noticed on mine is I have a little bit of some of the bonding right here. I'm just going to take that out. That way I can make sure that I get these pedals exactly where they're designed to be. All right, let me show you what I ended up having to do, which was put the seat back in the car and see where all of that stuff lined up to make sure that I liked where the pedals were, and I'll show you why. So with the seat in the car, I actually had to move it back about an inch, and that's because where the pedal box sits, I can't get it back far enough because of the firewall. So where you can see the cutout of the firewall right here, you can cut that area out, and then you can reshape that all, put a piece of aluminum there, and what that will allow you to do is push the pedal box back farther and not have to move the seat back further. So right now I'm just going to mount the pedals as far back as I can. I'm going to move the seat back 1 inch. I like the way that felt, but I don't know how my steering's going to be. Now, I've driven my car with the way it's set up now for, man, like 5 or 6 years. So I'm really used to where I'm positioned. So I'm not sure yet how that's going to play out, but I'm willing to give it a try. We'll see what happens. We'll see even if I need to buy a extension for the steering wheel just to bring the steering wheel a little bit closer. But I mean, already I can tell I'm an inch further back. Like, yeah. So anyways, we'll check it out, and if I need to, I'll take the pedals out. I'll punch a hole in the firewall, and we'll box it back out, and that's how we'll have to do it. But for now, move the seat back an inch, and we'll let it roll. All right, so I'm going to start with a 5/16 inch hole, and then I will make it bigger. All right, with all those holes started, we'll go all the way through. All right, and then we'll go to a 3/8 inch. All right, so here we are under the car. We've got this backing plate that will stick up here. It's already been cut for the holes, and this will just sandwich because this is all just wood, and I think a little bit of fiberglass above it. All right, so I'm going to drill these 2 holes here, and this one here is going to get a rib nut. These ones are going to be a through bolt all the way into the trans-tunnel area. All right, so we got those 2 holes drilled. I got that hole drilled with a rib nut in there. So what I'll do now is put the pedal mounts back in, put the pedal box on, and then move on to making the mount for the reservoirs. All right, so it's another night, and I got the pedal box mounted in. I've got it bolted in where it needs to go. I'm going to make a couple changes to it. So it came with some shims for this outside here. I shoved some in there, but it's still not, I don't think, right. So I'm going to cut the floor out right here. I'm going to cut this ledge out, and I'm going to just put the shims in to take up that space so that sits against the wall. This one's got a much thicker bolt than the other side, so I think those ones are good. And then the 4 bolts in the ground. So there's the pedal box in. I'm going to go over to the passenger side now and start making that mount that's going to go right up in there. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so like I said, I got a mount for the reservoir. It's not going to fit. I need to make this a 90 degree and this a 90 degree. This section here was too short, so I'm going to straighten this out a little bit better than what I already have, because this is nice and powder coated. And then I'm going to bend it 90 degrees right about here. So I'm going to get out the manual brake, and we will get this bent. All right, so I have the template made up. I just made it out of some cardstock. The gist of it is going to be pretty much the same shape as it was before. This was too short, as you can see, where the reservoir would have ended up would have been really high, and I don't think I could have poured any fluids into it. So I went ahead and made a template that's longer than it, and I just got to run to the store now and grab some aluminum so we can get that cut up. All right, so I've got my template made. I've transferred it over to the aluminum here. I marked where my bend marks are going to be, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just drill this on the drill press before I bend anything, and that'll just make it easier. Then I'll cut it out and start bending. All right, so I'm over at the saw. We'll make some relief cuts, and then we'll start cutting. All right, so got the piece cut out. Now we're gonna move on. I'm gonna sand off the edges, and we'll get it bent up. All right, got my brake set up, got my line. I usually clamp this down, so when I put this on, now I can bend this at my 90 and hope we get it right. Now this is 14 gauge. I think that's about 90. Nope, a little bit more. There we go. Now they're 90 degrees. There we go, 90 degrees. All right, so as you can see, I've got the piece made here. It's turned out pretty nice. 2 90s pretty much is all it's going to do. It's going to sit right up in here. I'm going to raise it just a little bit off of the roll bar, because I'm going to put some foam under it, under here and here. That way it'd probably be more neoprene or anything, but just to stop it from rattling around. Alright, so I've got the first hose put on the fitting. And this is just test fitting right now. I will, before I put the next fitting on, I'll have to put the hose clamps on so we don't forget about those. I don't think I'm going to have enough line, so I ordered some more. We're going to do this right to here. Just make it to about right there. That'll give us a place to tie it to. And we will cut it right about, let's do it to there. So next hose, I'm going to leave the clutch for last. At least the brake system will be done. That. Make sure we're not binding. They're both pretty free. Cut it right about here. Well, story of my life. I think it's about an inch or two too short. I don't want to use it just for the sake of getting it done. I can get some more tomorrow, but I'll finish these up at least. But like I said, I'm not gonna force an inch, or will I? Okay, enough. All right, so I've got the right and left master cylinders, hoses. I've got them down on the pedal box. I've got the pedal box mounted. This will get finished up in part 3 of the series I'm doing for the brakes. I'll do those, plumb those to the trans tunnel, and then we'll do the clutch lines to all that stuff in part 3. That should pretty much wrap this episode up. If you have any questions, just be sure to leave a comment. I'll try to answer them. Don't want to show you too much to bore you, but I try to show you enough so that you know that it's not too difficult to do yourself. So, all right. Like I always say, if you like freedom, you'll subscribe. Peace.
Powered by the old shoe.